Hello, hello, hello. What's up, guys? Let me see if I can fix this lighting and stuff. Ooh, sorry it took me so long to get on here after I had this scheduled. Let me see what I can do about this. Let me see what I can do about this lighting. Y'all, I had to go to Lowe's. Oh, it's a fly in here. Um, okay, so I bought some orchids a couple weeks ago. I got them from Costco, and some of the roots seemed like they was exposed already. So I had to go to Lowe's so I could get some I guess orchid mix because they use a different mix other than like regular potting soil. So I went to go get that, and then I got caught up looking at all the plants and everything. So I end up coming home with, I don't know, maybe about 6 plants that I needed to replant. Okay, that's a little better. That I end up needing to replant. And so I got caught up doing that, y'all. So I'm a little behind on the live, okay? But happy Friday to all the internet cousins, aka Cousins Crew, hashtag Cousins Crew. Um, so I told you that, Real Housewives of Atlanta is like my guilty pleasure. Real Housewives of Atlanta is one of the shows that is kind of like a comfort show or even like a background show for me. And it might be that for a lot of people. So I have a lot of fun going back, rewatching some of the old episodes or old seasons, just reminding ourselves of some of the nostalgia, especially after season 16, because season 16 was so different, yet it has so many like correlations to it also, right? Especially with Britt coming in, with the car visit, we immediately started to kind of point out the kind of housewives 101 tricks she did, or maybe like the housewives starter kit. And so it got me thinking, let's go back and watch season one. So I did. I went back and watched season one. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Because if you do, you will have access to any of the Housewives trivia that we're doing. So we do have some Housewives trivia that we are going to do the answers to today here, okay? Yes, I am eating chips because I am hungry. I told y'all I got caught up. I wish I could say in my garden, but on my patio. Either way, I was repotting my plants, okay? And so I need a little snack. And so I apologize in advance. Okay, so let's get into it. All right. Um, First of all, Real Housewives of Atlanta came bursting on the scenes October of 2008. Okay. Um, we get introduced to the original OG cast, season one. Nene Leakes, of course. Sheree Whitfield. You know what? Let me go pull the pictures up. See how unprepared I was for this, and I was supposed to be way more prepared, the especially as much as I really wanted to do it. I don't know why I don't have my stuff up all ready. Let me see. Here we go. Let me see if I can grab the photos of the ladies really quick so we can have some references. So we can have reference. And I am as I when I'm talking about the different seasons, I will be using pictures from that season, and not as a way to try to like shame or anything like that. Of course we know that they look different But I mean, that's not the reason why I'm using it. It's just really to make sure that we know what I'm talking about from the thumbnail and that it's not like deceiving as if I'm talking about something current and I'm really talking about something, that's old. So that's really the purpose and why I am using the photos. Now, of course, we're going to talk about the way they change also, not we're going to keep it respectful because listen, everybody is entitled to do what they want to do with their face, I assume, as long as they're paying for it. One, two, okay, who am I missing? Oh, I think that's it. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, I must can't get the other two. Let me think. Let me see if I can get it this way. Let's see if I can get it this way. Do it this way. Do it this way. Do it this. Okay, yeah, it won't let me do that one that way. Okay. Either way, all right. Well, I can't get up the other ones. Now, when we come back to discuss season two, I'm not gonna make you no promises. I'll definitely try to make sure I have the pictures uploaded already, but I will be better prepared. Yeah, I promise you that. Because I should have been better prepared for this, especially as much as I wanted to do it. Anyway, let's get into it. So, back to what I was saying before I got sidetracked. Um, we get introduced to our OG Real Housewives of Atlanta season one cast, which includes Nene Leakes, Sheree Whitfield, Kim Zolciak, Lisa Wu, and Deshawn Snow. Okay, if you don't remember who Deshawn Snow is, that's this young lady right here. Deshawn Snow was married to Eric Snow, and at the time, Eric Snow played for Cleveland Cavaliers alongside LeBron James. Anyhow, um, Deshawn was kind of like it's funny because I think in my caption I kind of describe her as spending all the money. Deshawn came in as extra. I believe when they put the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast together, part of them going to get Deshawn, which of course we know that Nene was the first one casted, and Nene kind of steered everybody in or steered the producers in everybody else's direction. I think she said except for Lisa, and maybe even except for Deshawn. But my point with Deshawn is that I think that they brought her in specifically to kind of give a lot of the aspiration, right? Because her husband was a current basketball player, and LeBron James, of course, has always been headline news. And so, it was a really big team for him to be, or a big deal for him to be a part of that same team, even though he has his own career separate from that. I'm just saying. Now, Lisa Wu comes in and she is married to excuse me, Ed Hartwell. That was her husband's name, which he was a football player, and I believe he was kind of like injured. He was out on an injury and he was rebuilding, just planning to try out for other teams. And they had just had a baby. And then we get introduced to Kim Zolciak. Now, funny enough with Kim Zolciak, like this was the first time that we had a lady come on who was kind of not just dating a married man and was, for lack of better words, a mistress. I think she didn't like that term, but I agree with Sheree. Like last time I checked, that's exactly what it was. I don't know a different term for it. Um, but she was like loud and proud about it. And I feel like this was one of the first times we got to see somebody kind of like that. And I mean, and it kind of be acceptable all over. Maybe not the first time somebody was gloating about it, but the first time nobody really cared until we got Miss Nene's most famous line at the end of the season at the reunion, which is "Close your legs to marry men." Now, what's interesting about season one, too, is they only had 9 episodes, and that includes the one-part reunion. At the time that Real Housewives came on, I believe it probably was Atlanta that ushered in the two-part reunion, because up until then we still were dealing with one-part reunions, because you were able to wrap up everything in one episode. Now, it might have took them, 10, 12, 15 hours to record it, but we were still getting it down in one episode. I feel like this season of Housewives, season 16, I feel like that reunion could have been done in one episode. I am not looking forward to this drawn out 3-part episode, but I'm going to bring y'all that review anyway. Okay, and last but not least, of course, is Miss Nene Leakes, married to Greg Leakes with her 2 children. So that well-rounded cast gives us our first season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And episode 1 is Welcome to Atlanta, okay? So as we introduce to all of the players, okay, we see that Sheree is planning her birthday party. Of course, she is in the middle of a divorce from her ex-football player husband, Bob Whitfield, and she is expecting a 7-figure settlement. Now, we're not knowing nothing from nothing. That's what I mean by the time we get all the way to season 16. Of course, Britt is putting on this facade about what money she has, and at the time, I can't say that Sheree was putting on a facade or not. I think Sheree was looking forward to staying in the lifestyle she had been in, and Bob just had another story for her. And we just kind of saw that play out. I don't think she came on pretending to have anything. Um, and I guess by season 2 we're gonna find out she wasn't pretending. Anyway, back to this. So Sheree is throwing herself a birthday party, and she does call Nene and invite Nene to the party. So Nene tells Kim, like, okay, I'm gonna go. And they find them something to eat. Within the first episode, it's time to go to Sheree's party, honey. Kim and Nene get there. Now, here's the thing that I feel like nobody brought up in the beginning, which was Nene and Kim showed up to that party an hour and a half late. But anyhow, when they showed up, baby, they pulled Nene to the side and was like, your name is not on the list, and did not let that lady in that lady house, honey. Now, let Carlos King tell it. That was the thing. And I think he is absolutely right. Like, once that happened, because we was watching, like, and it felt like, oh my God, we need to come and see, like, what happens afterwards. And I mean, Sheree does admit that she did that on purpose. Here's what I think. I think Sheree did do it on purpose, but I do think Sheree did it on purpose after they was an hour and a half late. And that's the thing that I feel like nobody brought up. It's like, why would you come to that lady's birthday party trying to make a fashionably late statement at her birthday? I would have your name not on the list at the door also. Like, who do you think you are? This is my birthday party. So I feel like Sheree didn't plan it ahead of time. I think she did that once Nene did not show up at the time frame that she felt was respectable to come to her birthday party. So we spend the rest of the season with Sheree and Nene kind of going back and forth over the whole deal of Sheree not having Nene's name on the list. Now, scurry on over to Kim. In this first season, when we meet Kim, we get introduced to her big papa, okay? He buys her a Cadillac Escalade, right? That's kind of reminiscent of the scene we saw with Britt in season 16, where her and her husband, quote unquote, go to the car lot and drive around whatever car it was they drove around. The difference is Kim drove off the lot with hers, and Britt did not. We also hear Kim wants to start her country career or her singing career, right? But she wants to be a country singer. So she's working with Dallas Austin. Dallas Austin introduces her to Miss Jan. Miss Jan tells her, you can't sing. And Kim is still kind of like, but I want to sing. Mama, I want to sing. And so before we know it, Kim will sing, even though we spend this first season kind of thinking, is this girl delusional? Because, girl, you can't sing. Even Dallas Austin had to figure out the best way to tell her, I'm not going to work with you. We also see Kim and Nene's relationship go through that back and forth. And even though, because we only had 9 episodes, even though by the time we get to the ninth episode or the eighth episode, because that's it, the first season had to have 8 episodes outside of the reunion. But by the time we get to the eighth episode, honey, Kim and Nene are not speaking. And really that introduces us to this toxic type of back and forth friendship that they have. Um but in the midst of it, what did they fall out for in the beginning? Mm, it was about the song, honey. So Kim finds this country singer that's got these songs that her and Nene listen to, and she picks one to sing. Somehow she ends up recording this tightrope deal, but when she heard the songs, Nene is the one that picked the tardy for the party. We just didn't know that tardy for the party was going to end up being what it was at the time that we saw it on this season, right? Okay, so she goes in and records the tightrope, and Nene ends up like making fun of her, making fun of Kim. Nene, Greg, Deshaun, her husband, and Lisa and her husband, they went to an event, and when they were in the limo, Nene decided to make, poke fun at Kim and her singing career, and she made up a song that was referencing Kim, and Lisa decided to go back and tell Kim. And so Kim was pissed off, and I feel like rightfully so. She should have been pissed off. So by the time we get to the end of the season, we see that her and Nene are not speaking, and like I said, this kind of introduces us to this back and forth friendship that we end up kind of seeing play out as the episodes of, or excuse me, as the seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta continue to go on. Now let's move on over to Sheree, honey. Because in this first season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Sheree introduces us to She by Sheree. And baby, we ain't never had the longest standing joke since. But at the time, we didn't know that this would be a joke. We were really, really, really rooting for Sheree for a long time too. But this season, we was really rooting for her, right? Because she tells us that she wants to drop this line. Honey, she was working hard on getting other people to work hard on her line. And she ended up finding out that that was harder to do than what she thought, okay? Because she ended up having a fashion show with no fashions. How dreadful, in the words of Dwight. And not to mention, we got introduced to Dwight this season as well. Not originally by Phaedra, but by Miss Nene Leakes, okay? before they fell out. Because yes, Nene does fall out with Dwight. Not this season, but it happens. Okay. Now Deshaun is just here spending all her husband's money. And not for nothing, even though they end up getting a divorce after the season, I kind of thought it was because she was spending all the money. I can't be for sure, but it just seemed like she was spending the money on a lot of unnecessary stuff. So we see her hiring a house manager, and then she decides to plan a fundraiser for. She has a charity for like underprivileged girls, and so she decides to throw a charity event. Her fundraising goal is $1 million. And she had faith in God that he would deliver. However, she did not charge anybody for tables. She just didn't plan very well. And so she ended up making $0 at her event. And it really sucked. And I'm sure she was embarrassed. Again, this is first season Housewives, right? Here's the thing. We were all okay with. Okay, maybe not. We might have let Deshaun have it about that because it was like, girl, you just threw this thing together and you just expected people to just give them their money, like without finding a way to kind of recoup your money. So that was an expensive lesson Deshaun had to learn. But other than that, Deshaun really didn't have a storyline. And I don't know. We didn't find her very interesting, right? But she did try to participate in keeping the girls together and trying to play peacemaker. So of course Lisa Wu coming in and she is all over the place, basically letting everybody know that she is ready to be on this Housewives show. Okay. Now she got her businesses, she got her new baby, and she is just a ball of energy, okay? But she tried to play peacemaker here and there. Except for when she telling Kim about what Nene said. That was not a peacemaker move. Even though by the time they get to the reunion, Lisa's like, hey, me and Nene made up. See, what I think happened is Nene did start off Real Housewives of Atlanta as the underdog. And what I really think happened is when she popped out as fan favorite, Lisa realized that she needed to get on Nene's good side because Nene was staying and whoever was connected to Nene probably was going to stay. She was right about that, but I'm just saying that's the reason why they made up. So real quick, these are the notes that I wrote down after watching season 1. And before I go through them, I want y'all to drop down in the comments and let me know when you watch season 1, Real Housewives of Atlanta, what is your favorite moment? Like, is it Sheree leaving Nene off the guest list and Nene showing up an hour and a half late, thinking that everybody was looking for her and she didn't even get in the party? Um, was it watching Kim just spend money like water? Like everywhere she went, she's like, "Oh, I don't care how much this costs. Like, give me that, give me this." And then just kind of wonder, like, well, where is she getting all this money from? I mean, of course, we assume Big Papa, and she wanted us to believe that it was something else, but the way she spent money, act like she really didn't have a problem making it, right? Or was it Deshaun? Like, I felt like Deshaun was just a little bit delulu. She was giving me like Drew vibes in that sense. And I mean in the Delulu sense, right? Just not in tune. I know she said, well, I'm not the first. Oh, excuse me. Let me take a drink of water. I know she said on the reunion, like, well, I'm not the first person who has a house staff. And okay, no, you're not. But for a person who doesn't work, it just felt like it was hard to explain why she needed a house manager. Um, and then when you saw her interview the house manager, some of the dialogue, at least for me, was cringy. And maybe it was cringy at the time. I think today it for sure would be cringy. Because she was kind of like, basically, like, she doesn't speak to the rest of the staff. She wanted a house manager because the house manager is like the liaison between her and everybody else, because she doesn't need to speak to them. It was real like uppity, and it's like, girl, your husband played basketball. It's not like he is out like saving lives or something. I don't know. Yeah, it felt like Deshaun was out of touch. Um and even though the show is supposed to be aspirational, because we were looking at African American women, women of color, um, I think the goal was for them to be relatable. And for me, that's exactly the reason why Nene came in as the breakout star. I do think that she was the underdog. I think she speaks about feeling like the underdog when she did her interview with Carlos King. And I think that she was. I think that's why Sheree came for her the way she did, because I think Sheree saw her as the underdog. And especially if their relationship was prior to Housewives, if their relationship was Sheree was kind of using her, her connections to share and get Nene into places. So with that being said, I wouldn't look at it as anybody as an underdog if I was doing them a favor like that. But I'm guessing in that type of, I guess, circle, that would make a person, view the other person as the underdog. However, the reason why she became the fan favorite is because she was a relatable, character, to us as African Americans, and to the Housewives franchise, or to the Housewives fans in general. Because I say it to this day, Orange County has a whole set of, like, I don't know. Orange County feels a little different than than all the other housewives, even though they have the same petty drama going on. It just feels like you're watching something different, and it might be because of the affluence that is shown on that show. Kind of a little bit more than, to me, than Beverly Hills. And maybe because of the expectation, like with Beverly Hills, it just kind of seemed a little bit more normal. But with Orange County, I don't know. I don't know. I might not even be explaining that right. It is something though. It's something. I'll put my finger on it and I'll let you know. So yeah, I just felt like Deshaun just did not fit in. And so my note for her is that she was delusional. Lisa Wu was just happy to be here. Okay. I feel like Lisa Wu would have done anything to make sure she solidified her another season. But what did y'all like about this cast with Sheree, uh, Nene, Kim, Deshaun, and Lisa? Did you like Lisa? Did we want to see more of Lisa? Like, we got to do some more polls. I'm gonna end up doing a poll like, who's the housewife who only had like one season, who you wish would have gotten a second season. I can't wait to do that. But if you want to answer that question, go ahead and drop down in the comments and answer the question now. Okay. Um, but that's what I got. My note for Lisa was like, she was just happy to be there, honey. She was trying to make sure she got back for another season. Because she was not wanting Ed to play no more ball. Nene is ready. Nene is ready for her close up. That's the note I took for Nene. Nene was. It felt like she had been waiting for her moment. And it was her time to shine, as we could see for the seasons to come. We find out Kim is 29 years old. We also meet Kim's psychic Rose. And even in that episode, she did pull some information about Nene and her about the letter that she was going to get, that had a lot of pain behind it, and she ends up getting the letter about her dad, about the dad she thought was her dad not actually being her dad. And we do see her kind of do that journey on television, which is take the DNA test and find out that Curtis was in fact not her dad. We also got to see her meet her actual dad. So that so again, that's what made season one just really good and explosive, and all of these things were just real things, natural things. These are not things somebody like orchestrated. And so we got attached and wanted to hear more about these stories, and especially, from some of the most polarizing people like a Kim, like a Nene. Kim, of course, like we end up finding out that Big Papa is married. Because at first we like, okay, Big Papa, fine. He don't want to be known because he a record exec, fine. But then we get to the reunion and find out the man is married. It was like, what? And of course, we get the iconic "close your legs to marry men," and she say, "What?" And then he said, "Close your legs to marry men." Like I said it, I say it again. Um, so we get that iconic line from Nene. That's what, like, the birth of Nene and her iconic lines were born. Okay, and we know how she feel about them. She showed what she can get paid for it. But I mean, at least I feel like the trade off is what it is. You got fair exchange is no robbery. Like, you did get what you were asking for, and that's for your name to be in other people's mouths, and it is. Okay, and it is. Um, what else do I have? We got to see Kim with Miss Jan, and we got to see Miss Jan tell Kim like she really didn't know what she was doing. We got to see Dallas Austin record with Kim, and we got to see Kim hear her voice on the recording for the first time, and she wanted to cringe, okay, because our ears were already bleeding. Um, Nene shares her story about her aunt reaching out. I already said that about the dad. We found out Deshawn is a member of Eddie Long's church, which she had a scene with Eddie Long, and it was cringy. I remember it being cringy then. Rest in peace, Eddie Long. But at the time, he had a lot of like nasty little rumors following him. And Deshawn met up with him after a church service, and she began to talk to him about um, her charity event that was coming up. So she asked if him and his wife would be auctioned, because she was doing a auction, which her statement was, "We're gonna auction people. We're gonna auction some people off." And I thought, that's strange. Why would you say it that way? I didn't understand. Oh, that's so funny. I didn't understand why she said it that way. Like, we gonna auction some people off. Like, girl, I don't know that you want to tell other black people that you finna auction them off. Like, no. Anyway, so Eddie Long is like, yeah, I'm telling her like it was no problem, but it was like the way he was saying it. He had this little dirty, like, he was like a dirty old man. He like, yeah, you owe me, and I'm like, oh, you. Ugh. Ugh. That was really a gross scene. It grossed me out. We get introduced to Miss Lawrence, and well, no, that's next season, but we get introduced to Miss Lawrence, which I feel like for me, that was the first time that I saw I guess a LGBTQ, but kind of like in the heels, and kind of doing the androgynous thing, like where you are presenting as male, but kind of have, I don't know how to explain what he was doing and the way he was dressed, but that's what we got introduced to him in season one. of Real Housewives of Atlanta. We also found out that Kim was a nurse. Even though she was not currently working as a nurse, we found out that that's what she does or had done at some point. Um, and I think I already mentioned as far as Kim go, like the first time that we had a lady just kind of be proud, right, of having a man fund her life. And it's funny how they wanted Marlo to kind of come in and take that role. I guess maybe because she had lived that role, I'm not sure. But you generally wouldn't find anybody who would admit to that the way she did in that first season. But again, listen, season one is 8 episodes, 9 including the reunion. In the reunion, we're gonna see Nene and Kim go head to head. Like I said, close your legs to marry men. That came out as like a top stand, excuse me, from the reunion. Of course, because they go head to head, we are looking so much forward to season two to see, like, okay, how does this end, right? How they gonna make up, excuse me, how or make up or not make up, right? Um, then this is another thing with Real Housewives of Atlanta, that season one reunion. Is about the seating chart. Like, we were not obsessed with the seating chart the way that we are now. Even though when you go back and look at season one, clearly they had a seating chart, and clearly there was a strategy about reunion seating even before we could pay attention or caught on to it. Okay. Or at least myself. Okay. I think all of us, but yeah. So that's what I say. So I guess we got introduced to a seating chart with Real Housewives of Atlanta. Um, we get the trash box, right? Trash box. Lisa was doing the most, trying to hold Nene back. And again, like I said in the earlier flip, I'm like, okay, Lisa called herself looking at Nene with the side eye because Nene was making fun of Kim in the limo. She felt like Nene was wrong because Kim is her friend. And so that's how Kim found out that Nene was making fun of her in the limo, because Lisa told her. By the time we get to the reunion, now miraculously, Lisa has had a conversation with Nene and let her know, like, well, we wasn't close then, so I did tell her, but we close now, and so now I got your back. And it was like, and so she was over exerting herself to show Nene her loyalty. That's just because she was trying to get her tail on another season. This is where I started to not like Lisa. And I'm like, Lisa, you two-faced, because that wasn't how you felt, and you flipped the script. We found out about Kim's wig, honey, and Kim kind of played the sympathy card, but she went too far with it because she insinuated that she possibly had the C word and then confirmed that she didn't, but she still kind of wanted sympathy for thinking that she might have had it. Listen, we all thought that Kim was wearing the wig and it was just a statement piece, honey. Thank God that wig got a little bit better by the time we go into season 2. Hold on really quick. Let me mute this. Okay, y'all. Sorry, I had to answer that call real quick. Okay, so now let's get into the Housewives trivia. So let me go. Let me go. Now listen, y'all, if you have not already liked this video, make sure you like this video and also subscribe to my channel. We're going to do more videos about some more seasons or some of the nostalgic seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And we're going to do more Housewives trivia. So in order to get to the Housewives trivia, you got to be a part of the community, okay? And once you join the community, you become a part of the family, okay? We are the Internet Cousins, hashtag Cousins Crew, okay? So if you want to be a part of the family, you got to make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And like I say, and then you can participate and play with us, okay? So let me see really quick if I'm going to be able to pull up. Let's see. I got to get a green screen, y'all, because this is ridiculous. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just take myself off. Okay, that's not so bad. Okay, so let me go and pull up one of our first trivias. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll say what the trivia was, and I will say what the answers are on the community tab, and then I will tell you what the correct answer is, okay? So the first one that we have is Who Said That? Okay, so Housewives Trivia Season 1. Who said that? And it's I don't do drama, I do business. The choices were Lisa, Sheree, Nene, or Deshawn. So who do you think said that? We have 48% says Lisa, 17% says Sheree, 4% says Nene, and 30% says Deshawn. Okay, the correct answer is Miss Lisa. Okay, so 48% with Lisa got that trivia correct. Okay, let's move on to the second one. Okay, so this is another Who Said That? And we are looking at I like to look good, feel good, and live good. Okay, so the choices are Nene, Sheree, Kim, or Lisa. Okay. Now we got 27% with Nene, 47% with Sheree, 20% with Kim, and 7% with Nene. Okay, so let me see. Let me go to my key so I can see. I like to look good, feel good, and live good. And that is Sheree. Okay, so 47% Sheree. You guys got it right. Good job. Good job. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next Housewives trivia. This is another Who Said That? Who said that? The boys. I don't know why I got the boys. I am the glue that holds my family together. So we got Lisa with 0%, Sheree with 14%, Nene with 57%, and Deshawn with 29%. And this is a trick question, so it is Nene Leakes, okay? It is Nene with so the 57%, you guys got it right. Good job, yay. All right, the next Housewives trivia question is what business was Lisa Wu promoting in season 1? Okay, so we have a hair salon, 0%. Okay, nobody chose hair salon. A real estate company is 14%. A clothing line is 86%. That's how many chose clothing line, okay? And then a fitness studio with 0%. Now listen, the answer to this was really tricky too, because you really had to be paying attention, right? But the answer is a real estate company. So 86% chose a clothing line. Listen, those 86%, I know y'all watch the show. You just happen to get this trivia wrong, guys. Okay, let's go to the next one. So the next question is, what was Kim Zolciak's mystery man famously nicknamed in season 1? Of course, everybody got this right. 100% Big Papa. We don't really need to go through the other names because of course everybody should get that right. Um and everybody did. The next question is, which season 1 housewife hosted a huge fundraiser at her home? And so we have Kim with 11%. Those are the answers. Deshawn, 68%. Lisa, 4%. And Sheree, 18%. Of course, the answer is Deshawn. Deshawn Snow is the one who hosted a fundraiser in her home and tried to raise $1 million, honey. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, the next Housewives trivia. Who said that? And this who said that, this should be kind of easy as well, but I don't keep up with the Joneses. I am the Joneses, okay? Sheree, 20%. So 20% of the votes gave it to Sheree. 72% of the votes gave it to Nene. 4% of the votes said Deshawn. And 4% of the votes said Kim. The answer is Miss Nene Leakes. Okay, this was her tagline for the season 1 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Is I don't keep up with the Joneses. I am the Joneses. Okay. I threw in. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the next one. This is who was the first housewife on screen in season 1, episode 1. Okay, so we have Kim with 0%, Sheree with 28%, Nene with 67%, and Lisa with 6%. Now let me tell y'all something. This is a trick question because neither of these, okay, neither of these are correct. And I think this is my fault. I think I forgot to put the actual person on here. So we're going to save that and redo it. Let's move on to the next one. Who said that? This is another who said that? Housewives trivia. This is, if I don't know how to do anything else, I know how to make money. Okay, excuse me. Let me reread that. If I don't know how to do anything else, I know how to make money. Okay, we got Nene with 45%, Sheree with 5%, Kim with 10%, and Lisa with 40%. The correct answer is Lisa, okay, with 40%. So 40% of you guys got it right. And that does end our Housewives trivia for season 1. I'm going to go ahead and give you this answer about who was the first housewife shown on the screen in season 1, episode 1. The answer is Deshawn Snow. I was not supposed to have Nene in the. I was not supposed to have her in the answers, and so I did that wrong. That's my fault. So the 67% that voted for Nene, listen, I guess I'm gonna let y'all have it because I'm gonna just say I understand why you did. Anyway, that ends it for our Housewives trivia season 1. Thank you guys for everybody who participated. Again, in order to participate for Housewives trivia, you should be subscribed to my channel. And hit the bell notification so you can be notified whenever I do go live or when I upload a new video. I think we'll be doing season 2 Real Housewives of Atlanta review in maybe about 2 weeks or so. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I will be keeping you posted on when we can do it because look, I want to make sure y'all available, cousins, so we can get in here and talk about it. It's a Friday night and y'all clearly got things to do. Okay. I'm in here talking to y'all about nostalgic Real Housewives and y'all outside kicking it. I ain't mad at you though. I'm gonna be kicking it this weekend. So don't forget to join on Monday for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 review. We'll be reviewing the part 1 reunion. And we will do that at 8:30, okay, on Monday. All right, y'all. I'm gonna head up out of here. Y'all have a great weekend. Make sure you drop down in the comments. Let me know what your favorite part of season or what your favorite thing about season 1, Real Housewives of Atlanta is. Let me know where you are commenting from. And let me know if you're part of the crew. Okay, cousins crew? I'll holler at y'all later. Let me go enjoy my patio. Okay.